The Cambrian Mountains are a wildly remote part of upland Wales. The area keeps luring me back time and time again, and I've been fortunate to enjoy much of what this area of mid-Wales has to offer. It's a place that touches my soul in a way nowhere else has, and so it's for that reason that I had to complete a hike that has been on my bucket list for ages, the Monks Trod. As the name suggests, it's a route that was used by Cistercian monks many hundreds of years ago and crossed the 20-odd miles of wilderness between two important abbeys, Strada Florida in Welsh-speaking Ceredigion to Abbeycwmhir in the east. I'd be starting in the east, where for the sake of my time and your interest, I'd use my car rather than walking boots for the first 6 miles or so. This section would involve driving empty country lanes with incredible views, passing through the market town of Claerddu before taking to the mountain road and heading into a landscape where sheep certainly outnumber people. And so it's a warm, sunny welcome from the Monks Trod in the Cambrian Mountains. It's been a long old journey, but it feels so good to be here. But if I'm being honest, if I just spin it round, I mean, we're only just into the journey, and look how beautiful and wild it is already. I've been to this part before, but it still blows me away every time. It does feel a bit nerve-wracking leaving the car there in such a wild, remote spot. I'm hoping it'll be alright. I think it's best just not to think about it. I'm sure it'll be fine when I get back tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this journey and sharing it with you. I think there's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm pushing myself physically, you know, this is going to be a long old walk. We'd probably like to have very, very little company, no phone reception. There'll probably be fords to cross, Bothies to visit, you name it. So let's get on and let's enjoy this. Good afternoon, ladies and kids. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya. So a bit of a progress check. Been going about 2.5 hours. And yeah, if I show you my Garmin, hopefully you can see it all right. I've done just shy of 5 miles. So yeah, the going is pretty slow. It's not massively boggy, but there are some pretty dodgy sections where you've just got to be careful of your footing. Anyone who knows this area well will know what I'm talking about. It's pretty synonymous with the Cambrian Mountains. But kind of to go back to the monks, you can see why this walk was so special to them. This area is just beautiful. You know, it doesn't have the dramatic scenery that somewhere like the Lake District or the Highlands of Scotland has, but it's got a wild, empty beauty that I don't know. I've struggled to find anywhere else in the United Kingdom. I think the North Pennines is about as close you can get. Look at it, there's just so much room. Not seen a single person, as you'd expect. But it reminds you that you're well and truly on your own out here. You know, you've got to fend for yourself, know what you're doing. Luckily, all is good. I'm so blessed with the weather as well. So I'm going to keep pushing on. It's just gone 6. I've still got about 3 hours of daylight, but I want to try and get to this Bothy in the next couple of hours. So let's keep on following the Trod. Well, I join you after losing the path. I do it every single time I go on a trip, even with the GPS and with the RS map. Yeah, I still lose it, but there it is again behind me. And I've stumbled across. I mean, the views have been pretty great all the way along, as I'm sure you'd agree. But yeah, what I can see now is it is amazing. So I'm going to stop and let the views do the talking. Just check this out. Right, that is where the lovely music has to stop, because I've realised, you've guessed it, I've got to get across this bloody thing. I'm laughing, but yeah, I've got no waterproof shoes. I don't really fancy soaked feet, so I think it's going to have to be boots off. And I think looks like a little island a bit further up there, so I'm going to head that way and see if I can get across, because it looked quite deep otherwise. So let's crack on. I'm not going to film it because I haven't got time just gone 7, so I need to push on really. Wish me luck. You want to know how I got on, don't you? Well, let's put it this way. The river won. I nearly got away with it with dry feet, but yeah, took the wrong step, and yeah, the feet went cold and then wet. Anybody who's got, I call it a booty, you know, when the water goes in. I used to call it that as a kid when I used to play in the stream opposite my house. Yeah, anybody who's had a booty, you know the feeling. You know, you think you got there, and then yeah, cold and wet feet. But as Andy McDowell said, it was some of the worst acts on record, I reckon. But if anybody's seen that film, 4 Winds and a Funeral, then yeah, think back to that line when she's standing in the rain and says, "Is it raining? I hadn't noticed. Comes a stage when you can't get any wetter." It was rubbish, but I'm going to live to that motto now. I mean, I'm facing quite a bit of bog. Let me just spin around and look at this. What a mess. But feet are wet, so I'm just going to have to plough through it, I think. Let's go for it. This is turning out to be the bog of doom. I've already gone in almost up to my knee. It's a good job my feet were already wet, but I thought I'd show you what I'm talking about. I mean, it's a good job I've got this pole, but watch this. And it goes. And to be honest, it would just keep going. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I'm just going to have to look for the most solid bits of ground I can and just, I don't know, a bit like the monks, just pray. Well, it's been a while. It's now 8:30 and I've not really covered that much ground, just because since fording that river, getting the soaking and showing you that bog, yeah, it's been really tough. Probably the toughest bit of the route so far. All this grass you can see around me, that's kind of what I've been wading through. So I didn't even want to film it. To be honest, my morale wasn't particularly high and I was just aware of what I still had to do. But once again, you've kind of just got to admire the scenery and the conditions. Look at it. It doesn't get much better than this. Still about a couple of kilometres to go, but there's a couple of fords marked as well, but with my wet feet, I'm just going to wade straight through them, so it shouldn't take too much longer to get there. Next you see me, I'll be at the Bothy. And there it is, Claerddu Bothy, exactly as I remember it. What a setting. Let's get down there and I'll show you around. I'll be honest, I've already had a look in the Bothy and it is very dark. Probably a bit too dark to show you around this evening as the sun's already going. So yeah, I'll save that one for the morning. But yeah, I thought I'd take you from just the other side of the bridge. I'm sure you'd agree, that is a brilliant entrance. Over the stream, you know, I might have a dunking out in the morning, depending on how, I don't know, how much a wake up I feel like. Great little stream out the front. I'm guessing this was a bigger settlement at one stage. But it is amazing to think, you know, that this building here was somebody's home. No doubt a shepherd's home in the past. And, you know, I have been here before. I'll show you this. This shows just how old this building is. Look at that. 1866. You think of the stories, you know, and what life would have been like living here over 100 years ago. I mean, it's a pretty wild and empty place even now. You know, back then, when there was no electricity, anything like that. Oh, incredible. But yeah, there's no one at home, but I'm not planning to stay in the Bothy, if I'm being honest. And that is because I wander back actually towards where I'm hoping to camp. Because yeah, I stayed there nearly 2 years ago with my partner at the time. And we had, it really wasn't a very nice night. Hard to explain, but just felt really uneasy, as if we weren't the only ones there, even though we were. Yeah, I hardly slept a wink and I was just glad for the morning to come. So if there were other people in there, I might fancy it, but on my own, no way. So let's go and get this tent out, get that up, and then just try and relax. Lovely little patch here. A few sheep. Hopefully they'll leave me alone. Let's go and do it. Right, for the second time today, things have not gone according to plan. Oi, who are you interrupting? Try to talk to the camera. Yeah, as I was saying, obviously feet got soaking when I didn't want them to. And yeah, I've got the tent out and I've got to realise that I've got everything apart from the pegs. Which, if I'm being honest, is really, really annoying. I've camped loads of times and never made this mistake. The ridiculous thing is, I just checked my phone and a text message must have come through earlier from my dad, just saying to me, pegs in van. Let me explain. I bought my tent to my parents a couple of days ago just to try it out. I've got a new tent. It's the OX Bobcat. Really looking forward to trying it out tonight. And yeah, we put it up. My sort of 8-year-old niece had a little sort of sit in it. And yeah, packed everything away. Forgot that. So annoying. But, you know, I'm on the Monk's Trod.
And these monks didn't have all these luxuries. They didn't have tents. They didn't have waterproof shoes, even if you do dunk them and get wet. Stoves, all that sort of thing. And they still managed. So I've got to do the same. So I've tried to improvise. And in the spirit of Bear Grylls, check this out. I'm actually quite proud of this. I found this, actually, had a bit of rummage round, and I found some bits of slate. They're quite strong and they're nice and sharp, so hopefully they'll work quite well. And then in the bothy, there was also some cutlery. So I'm going to stick that in the ground and hopefully peg it out using these. Whether the tent will stay up, we don't know. But let's give it a try. Hopefully I'll see when the tent's up. Well, I am one happy man. We've got one Bobcat tent standing strong. And what I'm most proud of are, of course, my makeshift pegs. Check these out. I reckon the slate I picked up would have worked really well. I mean, I don't know if you can see, I've bloodied my finger a little bit hammering it into the ground, but nothing too bad. And the cutlery from the bothy was just, it was a godsend as well. But there we go. Even if the wind does get up, I mean, there's not a breath at the moment, but even if it does, I'm pretty sure that tent's going to be solid. So yeah, it's just going to be myself, the bothy, and of course, the mountain sheep. Did they sleep? I mean, I've been up at the crack of dawn before and they're up and they're still going now and it's 20 to 10. I'm going to leave them for the time being, get these wet shoes off and get some food in me. I'm absolutely ravenous. It is so incredibly quiet. Apart from the water in the stream, there's just no other noise. Helps that there's no wind either. Incredible. It's so remote where I am, and so wild. Yet, it doesn't feel scary. I'd be telling a different story if I was inside the bothy, but out here it feels fine. You can see the moon's out to play, and there's the night sky. I mean, the Cambrian Mountains are considered to be one of the best places in the United Kingdom to see the night sky, and tonight I'm blessed. So I'm going to sit up for a bit. I've all eaten, and I've had a bit of whiskey as well, so I'm just going to sit out and enjoy that for a bit. I don't think this camera's going to be good enough to pick it up, but yeah, I'm going to enjoy that and then call it a night. So unless anything eventful happens during the night, fingers crossed it doesn't, I'll see you in the morning. Night, night. Good morning all, and I'm feeling pretty refreshed this morning. The tent survived the night, and yeah, it was so peaceful, as I said, that I slept. I mean, I think the 10-mile walk in as well really helped. I slept like a log. I've not been up that long, but look at it. Since flying that drone, the sky's cleared again, and it's a beautiful morning. Still just so peaceful. Got the place to myself.
So yeah, I did go on actually, and I filmed inside, sort of giving you a bit of a guided tour. But I've decided not to include it just because, the video is already getting pretty long and it would just end up ridiculous if I included everything that I shot. So if you fancy a guided tour, check out the link that I've included below this video. Shows you everything you probably need. So with that in mind, let's crack on with the rest of the morning.
Oh, the moment I've been looking forward to. Porridge and, of course, coffee. Oh, that hits the spot. These days, I don't know if it's age, but I cannot start a day without it. I'll tell you, this porridge is going down well as well. Certainly tastes the blueberry in it. Need to carb it up because there's a long day's walking ahead. Somewhere between about 16 and 17 miles. I'm going to be heading towards Strada, Florida, first of all. The other monastery, or the former monastery, on the western side of the Cambrian Mountains. And then I've got to do the journey back sort of the way I came from yesterday. But conditions are meant to go downhill as the day goes on. So yeah, it's meant to get pretty wild and wet from about mid-afternoon onwards. So I think I need to finish this up, get packed away, and then the next we see of each other, I'll be on the move.
Close to the bothy are the TV pools, a series of lakes set high in a wild, windswept location. I made my way past them via some smaller river valleys and could spot the flatter land out to the west, signalling the end of the journey. The mountains had one last sting in their tail though, as the path vanished and had me pushing through long grass and bog underfoot. I was so relieved to make it to Strada, Florida. It had taken quite the effort, so I took my time to enjoy the ruins in a peaceful location.
And so we reached the end of the video. If you made it to this point, thanks ever so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it, because yeah, this is only part one. Part two is coming this afternoon, when of course I've got to head back across the Cambrian mountains in weather conditions that look grim at best. So I'll see you soon.